India leads the world in corporate generative AI adoption. Boston Consulting Group data shows 92% of the domestic workforce uses these tools daily, a rate that significantly outpaces the US, China, and Germany. This enthusiasm carries a heavy secondary effect. By utilizing these tools to boost daily productivity, workers are actively providing the training data for the systems designed to automate their roles. NITI Aayog forecasts indicate that by 2030, 63% of India's formal sector roles will face high automation risk. That percentage translates to a headcount of 94.2 million jobs directly in the path of generative models and robotic process automation. India is currently weaponizing its demographic dividend of 1.4 billion people to accelerate the very technology projected to hollow out its formal economy. Government planners and economic modelers expect this transition to yield a net positive gain of 4 million jobs by 2030. Achieving this requires generating 33.5 million entirely new, high-skill roles over the next 5 years. This target is necessary to absorb the impact of 29.5 million displaced workers. Subtracting these displacements leaves a final gain of 4 million positions. This 4 million figure represents the razor-thin margin of an aggressive economic churn, contingent on the state's ability to manage mass labor displacement through precise policy intervention. Predictive ARIMA models indicate the bulk of these 29.5 million displacements will materialize by 2028. The primary vulnerability zone is the IT and BPO sector, the foundation of India's service export economy, where 39.1 million roles are at risk. Routine code generators and specialized chatbots are currently absorbing the mid-level development and testing tasks that previously required a high human headcount. The manufacturing sector faces the next highest exposure, with 26.3 million jobs vulnerable to automation, according to the JDR sector risk data. Displacement in this sector is driven by collaborative robotics, or RPA, and AI-driven supply chain optimizations that reduce the need for manual assembly line monitoring. The specific industries that built India's modern middle class have become the epicenters of its greatest labor displacement. This bell curve illustrates the traditional macroeconomic model of job distribution across low, medium, and high-skill labor. Generative AI precision targets the center of this curve, automating routine cognitive tasks in services and finance, and hollowing out middle-income roles. The labor market is resolving into a bimodal distribution, polarized between a high-wage tech elite and a vast pool of low-wage, informal gig labor. This shift has already contributed to a 20% youth NEET rate, those not in employment, education, or training, according to the International Labor Organization. Graduate unemployment has reached 29.1%, as a severe skill mismatch leaves educated workers unable to transition into high-skill AI orchestration. Removing middle-skill stepping stones severs the mechanism for upward mobility, leaving the next generation without a clear path to the middle class. Beyond direct displacement, the workers who remain face a new challenge: the software that manages them. Algorithmic management occurs when AI systems assume control of the hiring process, continuous biometric surveillance, daily task assignment, and worker compensation. 78% of workers report undisclosed digital surveillance feeding into these black box systems, creating a culture of corporate opacity. These systems remove human oversight and appeal mechanisms, directly breaching the labor protections defined in the 2020 Industrial Relations Code. Research indicates these opaque algorithms enforce a 1.48 times wage penalty on female workers and create 31% higher displacement odds for marginalized castes. Unchecked AI integration structurally enforces demographic inequality, converting gains in processing speed into localized economic injustice. Securing those 33.5 million new jobs depends on a massive, hyper-specialized reskilling effort. The labor market needs workers trained in AI orchestration, data curation, and ethical governance to absorb the surplus. 63% of India's workforce requires retraining to remain relevant, a figure significantly higher than the 44% global average. This flowchart maps the India AI mission and the Future Skills Prime pipeline targeting 40 million workers for retraining. As of late 2025, 12.5 million have been successfully trained. However, digital illiteracy has created a 42% dropout rate, specifically among marginalized groups. Multi-billion-dollar technological infrastructure is ineffective if the most vulnerable populations lack the foundational literacy required to access it. The projected job gains are conditional. Legislators must mandate algorithmic audits to eliminate wage penalties. Scaling the AI talent mission requires vernacular training to reduce dropouts. Expanding the EPFO framework ensures portable Social Security. Activating these levers stabilizes labor churn, enabling 8% GDP growth. The strength of the institutional governance binding these algorithms to economic justice will determine the future of India's formal sector.